Hey travel families! Thank you so much for being a part of our interview with Travel Families Part 2. Again, we share this to show families who were thinking about traveling with kids but didn't know where to start, just to encourage them, and travel couples who are thinking about adding a baby into their travel life. You can do it, guys, and that's why we asked some experts who are traveling with their kids in different ages, and have fun watching all the information that they share with us.
Exactly.
Hey!
Hi!
Hey. We are Willem,
Lieve,
Kobe,
Killian,
Flora,
and together we are
the Wandering Family!
we're a full-time traveling family with 3 kids. Kilian is
12 years old.
Kobe is
10 years old,
Flora is,
8 years old,
and we've been on the road since the end of August 2018. And together we name ourselves the Wandering Family.
and we love to travel.
Yay!
Hi, we're the Global Wizards. I'm Helene. This is
Hanne, Juna,
And Jurgen.
and we're a full-time travel family from Belgium. So thank you Passion for Travel for asking us to make this video, and we'll try to share everything we know about traveling with children.
Hello, my name is Julie
My name is Emanuele.
from wandering.julie, and she's Sky. She is 9 months old and she started traveling when she was 2 months old.
Hi. So we are very happy to be participating in this video about full-time travel with your family, with kids, because it truly is something we feel very good about. So we're happy to share that with you, and we hope to inspire some people to do the same thing. So we're gonna answer 5 questions, and the first one is, why did you decide to travel with your family? I think we've always loved to travel. We've traveled a lot as a couple. And at a certain point, when we had kids, that kind of stopped for a little while. But at a certain point, we were like, why not take them with us? Why not let them enjoy traveling too? And I guess Flora was about 2. So they were 2, 4, and 6 when we did our first international adventure with them. We went 5 weeks to Thailand. And I mean, from the first time we did it, we loved it. I mean, it was hard and it was different than traveling as a couple, but it was also super rewarding in terms of seeing how they behave when they're in a new culture, when they're absorbing all those new influences and they're having these new impressions, how they translated that in their play. Like, we can see how it was like beneficial for them to be in another environment and to have new impressions.
And it taught us to look at the world through their eyes, like seeing things that we wouldn't normally have noticed, but they notice, and that gives us a whole new perspective as well.
And I think we did those family vacations for a few years, and we always looked forward to it for months. Then we had this month of family vacation, and then we kind of enjoyed it afterwards. And it was always like the highlight of the year, and it was like the thing that kept us going through the year. And then at a certain holiday, we were like, why does it have to be like that? Why does this have to be the smaller portion of our time, and the rest of the year is kind of built around that small portion of time? Why can't we not like flip it and make this time, these vacation style living, why can't we make that our normal? And once that thought had crept into our mind, it was like we knew yes, and we had a lot of yes but, yes but, yes but. So like systematically we started to tackle every but until there was only
A yes.
a very big yes. And I think the most important reason was because we wanted to spend a lot of time with our family, because that was like really important to us. We that were like the moments we enjoyed most, and we felt like we were like missing connection in the with the hasty life and the rat race. Everything going so fast, never time to like stop for a moment, be in the moment, connect. And so we felt like we lost connection with ourselves, with the people around us, with the world around us, and we like wanted to cut some time out to slow down and to go look for that connection again. I guess those were some of the reasons why we decided to travel with our family.
So the first question was, why did you decide to travel with your family? So I guess the reason we decided to travel with our kids is, first of all, of course, to see them more, to be more together, have amazing experiences together, to show them that there's a lot to see in this world, and to chase our dreams, because travel is actually our passion.
Okay, so let's start with the first question. Why did you decide to travel with your family? Okay, first of all, traveling has always been part of our life. We decided to travel with the family because we love traveling so much. We love meeting new people, new cultures, and of course, the food.
Question number 2 is, what are some of the benefits your child gets from traveling?
Well, personally, I think we believe it's one big benefit for the kids, because many people say, oh, traveling is so fun, but it's hard with kids and it's difficult, and is it worth it? And I think for us, we love to travel. We've always traveled a lot. I don't know if we would ever have started full-time travel, just the two of us. This is a decision we took like for the kids, because we thought it would be so beneficial to them. So why did we think that? Because so as they started to grow older, we kind of started to see the influence and the impact all the structures that society has put into place have on them. For instance, school, the first one for them. Like we could see how their creativity was like pushed into certain directions, maybe neglected even a little bit, how when they were curious it wasn't always appreciated. So we felt like certain parts of them were getting a lot of attention and a lot of development, and other parts of them didn't. And most of all, we felt like there was someone saying which part of you is worth more. Like some pieces of them were valued more than other pieces. We didn't feel like they could freely express themselves, or they could freely become the humans they actually were. Like a lot of pressure was starting to be put upon them. And seeing that and seeing them struggling with them was one of the main reasons and one of the main things that made us think, like, is this the best thing to live in these structures? Is this the best thing for our kids? What would it be if they could develop themselves freely? And traveling for us was a way of stepping out of the systems and finding a new normal life that made sense to us and that had value for us, where we could all explore and learn, be ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think it's very valuable for them to see that there is no one recipe for life. Like, there are a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people, and I think it's good for them to be exposed to different cultures and different peoples and different ways of looking at the world and different ways of doing things.
It's important for them to see that the world is not only what they have in their bubble at home, that there is much more to the world than that there is a lot of difference in the world, that you're just part of that 1% that
in your
you see,
little world,
that you see in your world, and not everything else. And That's a broader perspective.
And also we kind of wanted to make them maybe world citizens is a word for it, like I mean that they would feel at home in the world, like they would know that everywhere you go there's a lot of differences but there's also a lot of similarities, and like people are essentially friendly and good and it's a safe world and we can feel at home in the world. That's like the basic attitude for life we wanted to teach them, and we do meet a lot of super friendly people, and yeah, I think that's so beneficial for them that they learn to trust people, and yeah. I also think it's important for them to see some things that are not so nice or good, like for instance environmental issues. When you travel you really see the impacts. When you're in a tropical beach and it's full of plastic, it makes you wonder and it makes you start ask questions, and you kind of feel it in a different way as if you only hear about something, but like being in a place and seeing it is different, and so they become much more aware of all those things, and they feel also a bit of responsibility, like okay, this is also my problem and there are things I can do, and they become like really motivated to interact with this world and to take their place in it.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of benefits. And we're only scratching the surface.
Second question, what are some of the benefits your child get from traveling in terms of education and mindset? So let me think, what do you guys get from traveling? First
They get
of
to
all,
see a lot of religions.
yes, they learn a lot about religions, other cultures, other people.
Different food.
Different food. They learn to appreciate that not everything is as they know it. So they get to learn to handle change. I also think because we travel that much and we see a lot of wildlife and nature, they get to appreciate the environment much more. We have seen some of the direct impacts of climate change, such as glaciers in New Zealand that are melting.
A lot of plastic on the beaches.
A lot of plastic on the beaches because of the pollution. A lot of animals that were endangered, such as the turtles in Malaysia. So they definitely learn a lot about the environment and climate change and how important that is.
Number 2. What are some of the benefits your child gets from traveling? You want to answer this?
Okay, now she's still young, and so there are not so many benefits in the immediate. But when she'll grow up, I think she will learn different languages. She'll meet different people and cultures, and she will learn how to think in other ways.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is she will develop the empathy and will understand different cultures, and I think it will help her to be smarter. It will develop her social skills, their communication skills, and of course she will make lifetime memories.
Alright, up to question number 3. How do you travel? In a campervan, luxury, full-time or part-time?
So we're a full-time traveling family. We started off August 2018 and we've been traveling since. We define our type of travel as slow travel. We try to spend a month or more in one place, and for that we always rent Airbnbs because we need a kitchen. We want to have decent meals, not to have to go out and eat every time. We need enough space around us for me to be able to work, for the kids to be able to do their world schooling, to have a living room, to have some space to make the place really feel at home, which is something that, in our opinion, is much harder when you travel hotels and stuff like that. So that's why we opt for houses. And we also like the slow travel is mostly because we want to feel at home in a place, and we really feel that you need to be in a place for at least a month to be able to really feel.
Like the longer we're
homely.
into traveling, the slower we go. Like in the beginning, we thought like a week was long, and then to stay in one place, and then it was 2 weeks, and then it was a month, and now it's at least a month, and preferably 2 months maybe. Because like you need a few days to get a feel of a place and to get to know the surroundings, and then you kind of find your rhythm, and it's important to like find a rhythm for the kids too, maybe build some rituals for the time you're there, so they can like really feel like they're at home in a place.
Third question, how do you travel in a camper van, luxury, full-time or part-time? So full-time?
Yes, we were traveling full time, and then we took some airplanes. We went with the train. We also had a car in Australia. We bought a car in Australia, and then we sold the car. And then we rented a car in New Zealand. So we did a lot of things.
Well, in general, we travel, well, we've always traveled, but we've traveled for a year full-time. And now we're back for 6 months, but we're selling our house now to leave again, to travel again full-time. And in general, we don't travel luxury, we travel budget. So we travel on a low budget because we travel full-time, so we can't afford it to spend luxury travel.
No.
Number 3. How do you travel? How do we travel? Before having our child, we used to travel with our backpacks. We used to take local transportations. We even hitchhike in Cuba. But now we travel in different way. We do more research for accommodation that it's good for her, and also the places that we go, like if there's a good hospitals and everything. And we don't travel in luxury, but traveling with the baby, it costs more money than we used to travel before. Actually, we are a part-time travel family. Yes.
What are the top 3 things you need to know when you travel with children?
I think there's more than 3 things you need to know, but
Absolutely.
we'll try to like highlight 3 things we found very useful. The first one is make them partners in your travel plans. Like it's not like a vacation, you decide you're going there, and then back to regular life. It's gonna be, when you travel full time, it's gonna be their life. So they want to feel like they have a say in what their life is gonna be. So we often have family meetings, and then we decide like when we're in a place, those are the things we can do. What looks interesting, what doesn't look interesting at all, what do you want to do, how are you all feeling, are you guys a bit tired, so maybe we should have a slow week, or are you up to some adventure, we can have a faster week. So those are all things we talk about with them. Like also we have a schedule for the week, and we have some family rituals that keep coming back. We will also discuss with them if they're like, well, I don't like that element anymore, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore, maybe we should try something new. Like, it's all things we talk about as a family.
Yeah. I think very important in that regard is look at them as human beings and not as kids. Like they're as much a human being as we are.
Just
So-
with less experience.
with less experience, but they have fresh views that you don't have because you've been trained to think in a certain way, like for the last 30 years. And by looking at them as human beings with their own IDs and their own value, they become more involved.
And of course, we have made me the safety how do you call
Coordinator.
it? The safety coordinator. So sometimes when it's about safety, you sometimes have to explain that some things are not possible. But then if you explain it in a way they can understand, they often have no problems with it. So
No.
and then often they themselves now ask like, is that okay for the safety coordinator? And then so everybody grows in that process of we consider ourselves as a team, and that's how we talk with them too, like everybody is an equal member of the team, and we all have to participate and do our thing and make it work as a team.
Absolutely.
And they understand and they feel the benefits of that system. So when we're saying like, okay, well, it's getting late, maybe we should wrap it up in 10 minutes, they will wrap it up in 10 minutes because that's how a team works. Like if they start nagging, oh no, and let me play some longer, that isn't like teamwork, but they got the extra 10 minutes, so they're gonna work as a team. Like we would have said, no, it's now is the time. But then they say, can we play 10 minutes? And we're like, okay, we understand why. And then they wrap it up nicely. And that's kind of how the dynamics work
Yeah.
when everything goes according to the optimal scenario.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the first thing, work as a team.
Yeah. The second thing is really slow down. You're traveling the world we're traveling the world full time. We're not. We're interested in seeing places, doing cool things, doing fun things, but most of all, we're trying to live a life, and we're not checking off boxes. Our life is not around checking off boxes. It's more like being together, and for that we really noticed that we needed to slow down to be able to live the life and live it to the fullest. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, because when you pack your schedule completely full and something unexpected happens, you're running out of time and you're gonna be like stressed, and that's exactly what we don't want. So we just allow way more time for everything and don't pack our schedule really, really full, so that we know in every day we have the possibility to, if it goes that way, we can go that way too. If it goes that way, we can go that way, because we have room for that. We're not fully packed.
Well, and everyone knows that holidaying can make you feel exhausted after your holiday. You're like, whew, now I have to really get back to my breath. And you can't holiday for years or months on end. Like you really need to live too. So that's why you can do fun things. But you can't do them every day of the week. Like you need off days. You need to work. You need to do world schooling. You need to live a normal life and do fun things on the other days of the week.
Yeah, that's true. So slowing down.
Slow down.
Number 2. And number 3, have a schedule. Yeah, to have a schedule has been very important for us. As Willem was saying, it's not like we have this endless holiday. We have a normal life that has to happen too, and so it really helps if we have a schedule, and we try to make every Sunday the schedule for the week, and we write it down and we put it on the fridge. And our kids often, when they pass the fridge, they're looking at the schedule, and so they know what's coming. Because like when you're going to school, when you have a regular life, you know what's coming. You know, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It has a rhythm. You know when your extra classes are. You know, in Belgium, Wednesday afternoon there's no school. Then you have your weekend. So you kind of have a rhythm without even realizing it, and this rhythm is something that's like beneficial to us. Like we like to know what's coming. Especially some of our kids really feel better if they know what's coming, because then they can always work up an appetite for what's coming. If every day is like, oh, now this is happening, totally unexpected, well, it might be fun for 1 or 2 days, but if it's every day, it just is too exhausting. So they really like to know what's coming, and it helps us also to plan, like and not to plan too much. As you said, like to slow down, to not overpack the schedule, to see that we have balance in our week. So that schedule is very beneficial too.
Yeah, the schedule is also something that when you have all the freedom you want, you can do whatever you want with your life. But if you don't have a plan to implement what you want to do with that time, most of the times it just doesn't happen. Like you want to meditate, you want to do your yoga, you want to visit places, you want to have time to work, and if you just like let it all just happen, most of the time it just doesn't happen. Like you have to be really determined to plan it and say like, okay, this block of my day is specifically dedicated to this activity.
Yeah, it's like not having to invent the wheel every day or every week. Like by now we know, we call it kind of a Lego block system, and by now we know which blocks we want in our week, and so each week we can adjust according to the place we are, according to the situation, how much work you might have. So we can totally be free in how we place the blocks, but we know which blocks we want in our life to feel happy by the end of the week. And we know that when we do things, when we do all those things, we kind of go in the direction we want to go without having to put active thought in it every day again. Like we lay out the structure and we know by the end of the week we've done what we want to do. We're going in the direction we want to go in. And it's just a really good feeling to know what's coming and what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if like in normal society, it's kind of like society gives you the schedule. If you start traveling, there is no one giving you the schedule.
You have to write your own script.
You have to write your own script, right? Indeed. And it might feel like if you don't do that deliberately, it might feel after a while, it might feel empty or hollow or just senseless. Like, why are we doing the things we're doing? Why did we start this travel? Like, why did we get on the road? And to really make the time to sit down and think about that, like, what do I want out of this life? What do I want to do with my life? And how do I want to fit that into my weekly schedule? Is something that for us has been really beneficial.
Yeah, and also for the kids.
And also for the kids, absolutely.
Question: what are the top 3 things you need to know when you travel with children?
You have to take a lot of snacks.
Yes.
And for daddy.
Yes, children, they're always hungry. So if you either don't want to spend too much money because you have to buy really expensive snacks, or even if you're less lucky and there isn't anything to buy nearby, we always take snacks, drinks with us to keep the kids happy and daddy happy. I guess the second thing would be flexible. Some days the kids don't feel like exploring, other days they're like champions and they walk long ways and like to visit temples and other cultural things or cities. But we have to be flexible. We have to accept if there's a moment that they don't like exploring, just want to be at the beach or at the pool.
Just want to play.
Yes, that we have to accept that and be flexible with that. And then a third thing, I'm thinking would be maybe, well, I think if you travel with kids, it's not necessary that you only do kid stuff. We go to countries to see the country and to really explore the country, so our kids go with us always everywhere. We walk in cities, we explore temples, we do museums, so we do all kinds of stuff that's not only kid related. But of course, from time to time, or I mean maybe every other day, we make sure there's some fun stuff for the kids as well, but usually the pool or the beach will do the trick for them.
4. Number 4. Do you want to read this? Okay, so what are the top 3 things you need to know when you travel?
Okay, the 3 things that you have to consider when traveling with a baby is first thing, always give time allowance. You have to be early for planes, for trains, for everything. You have to be early because you never know what will happen with the baby.
He's Italian, that's why.
The second thing is you have to respect your child routines. So if she needs to eat, she has to eat. If she needs to sleep, if she's tired, you have to let her sleep and so on. And the third thing is that you have to carry with you only few things, the things that you really need.
The necessary.
Yeah, the necessary. Don't pack the whole house. You always find shops and stores so you can buy everything.
Yes. Don't pack your whole house when you travel. Okay.
Yes, we're on to the last question. The last question is, what was the funniest fail moment you had with your children on travel?
Yeah, I think that one is like, it's a bit hard for us to answer, because we're like a fail moment. We don't feel like we have a lot of fail moments. Sure, a lot of things go wrong, but that's like one of the things we think is most important of all. Like, what do you do when something goes wrong, or what do you do when something goes different than you expected it? And so we really try to work on that ourselves, and also installing this in the kids, how you handle such a situation. And it's often by humor and being very calm and trying to see different ways or different opportunities. Like, plan A isn't working, okay, we're gonna have to make a plan B and maybe C and D. And so that's kind of how we approach fail moments. So we immediately go like into that mode, like, okay, what's gonna be plan B? And so, for instance, one time we were traveling with our car and we had to do a road trip, but it was at a time that our car really didn't feel like doing a road trip. So in the 4 or 5 days, I think we had 4 or 5 times we had to find a mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe 6. And so, like, by the second time the car broke down, the kids were like, okay, we're gonna take out the yoga mats and install us on the pavement, and do you have a little game at hand, and we will play some games, and we will start reading, do we have enough water? And it was like, oh, okay, well, we're settled, let's try to find a mechanic now. And so that's kind of the way we approach it when there are fail moments. Yeah, we try to approach it with humor. We try to stay cool, stay clear in our minds, and start to think about different options. I do remember that time when we locked in Kolbe.
When he locked himself in.
When he locked himself in.
Yeah, so it was in Italy. We had this Airbnb in the middle of in the countryside, so there was
Tuscan countryside.
The Tuscan countryside, and the house had a back and a front door. The front door was locked, so we would always use the back door. but the back door locked from the inside. So what happened was we were all outside. Kobo was about 1.5. He could barely walk, and he went inside without us noticing, and he must have done something that made the door slam close, and we just couldn't open it from the outside. We were all outside, Kobo was inside, and it was just impossible to get to him. But the house was full of stairs, and
he could go where we could see him. It was like kind of with a lot of corners, and he was just starting to walk with his little wobbly legs and just grabbing onto everything he could. So it was like not the best time to leave him in a house he didn't know.
With all the stairs and stuff.
With all the stairs and all the stuff, and so we found ourselves acting like madmen, trying to look, singing and dancing
trying to get his attention,
trying to keep him like looking at us. And every time he was like, okay, this is not funny anymore, and he turned around and went inside like, okay, we have to do something that's even more funny, and start singing, and like, because then at least when we saw him we were sure he was going to be okay.
And then in the meantime trying to contact the owners of the Airbnb who lived like 15 to 20 minutes further. So trying to contact them, they were home luckily, but then we still had the time they had to get in their car and get to us. So all the time we were like at the window, like making funny faces and doing funny things.
It's when we knew like a career in a stand-up comedian would never be something for us.
And then the last question, what was the funniest fail moment you had with your children on travel? I'm gonna leave Jürgen to that.
Well, we had to take a bus in Malaysia.
From Georgetown to
the other side, to the Parhension Islands. And it was a very long ride.
Yeah.
So I bought the ticket. I was alone in the ticket station, and I bought 4 tickets. And I thought the bus was leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we got up at 6 o'clock to get the bus, took our stuff. We went to the bus station, and then the lady said, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. And everybody was mad at me.
Yes, so
we were up so early.
Yes, and we already checked out at our hotel. So we were kind of lost in Georgetown for a day. Luckily we could go back to our hotel,
and we were so lucky to have a day trip with the bus, because
yes, so now we had a night trip, and that bus, the night bus, dropped us at 4 a.m. We had to take a boat to the Parhension Island, so at 4 a.m. We were sitting with the children by the side of the street waiting for the boat that was leaving at 7 a.m. So,
but Parhension was nice.
So Daddy is not allowed to book buses anymore.
Okay, so number 5. What was the funniest fail moment with your children on travel? It wasn't really the funniest, but let's say the fail moment. It was when we arrived 5 minutes late in check-in, and we weren't able to check in our luggages. So I took the flight with the child and with the backpack, with a small backpack, while my husband with the big luggages had to buy 3 flight tickets to get to Gran Canaria in the same day. Yeah, it was unexpected.
And really stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful for him actually. And he arrived like
12 hours.
12 hours after. And yeah, so the point is always give time allowance, especially when you have like international flights. That's it.
So, as kind of a closure, we want to thank you, first of all, Passion for Travel, for inviting us to participate in this video. Everyone who's been listening to it and looking at the video, thank you for that too. We really were so excited to participate in the project because full-time travel really is super fun. Full-time travel with your family, yeah. And it's like the kids learn from it, but we ourselves learn from it every day. We feel like we're all growing so much every day. And so if we can inspire another family to do the same thing, we are over the moon.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out for us. We are the Wandering Family. We are on Instagram, like the Wandering Family with an O. We are on Instagram, and we'd be happy to answer any question you might have.
Yeah.
All right.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.
Okay, well, that's it. So hopefully this was useful to all of you. So we were the Global Wizards, and maybe we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye. See you soon.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for inviting us for this interview, and hopefully to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.